I put my trust in you, and I trust in I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dain Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain, and we're your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations award-winningly.
Award-winningly, but we are a sex and dating advice podcast. We find questions either roaming in the wild on the internet, or we get them from our wonderful listeners, such as yourself. We answer them right here as a team, award-winningly also.
And then we poach them illegally.
We poach them?
The questions that we find roaming the wilds.
You're not meant to tell people. We've been denying that for years.
We don't have the license to hunt on the king's land.
There's no king on the internet, not anymore. We don't recognize his authority.
There's a game that's like that where it's like you have to collect materials and stuff, but if a guard catches you hunting, you get in a bunch of trouble.
Skyrim.
I don't think so. I'm incredibly hungover. Well, I'm not incredibly hungover. I'm now just entering into regular hangover state.
Dain, we're professionals. I cannot believe you do this.
Uh-huh.
I cannot believe you do this.
Well, I did.
I've spent 3 years being completely sober for every episode, never hungover. And
I believe there is an episode somewhere where you were at a work party and you came in and you were...
That's the joke. There's an episode I can't remember.
I mean, to be fair, I edit all these and I don't remember any of them. So
yeah, but that's just due to your special brain and not a lot of alcohol.
They go into my mind palace where they live forever.
Would we call it a palace? I feel like you'd be able to find things in a palace.
No, it's so big.
It's just expensive. So big and grand. It's not just a jumbled dirt mess.
Yeah. That's my life.
No, true. You ready for a question?
I guess.
Yeah, my boy Working Donut 82 is hitting us with, actually, I don't even know if it's my boy or my girl or my anything else. So I'm just going to say Working Donut 82 says, is it unreasonable not to date people who have had sexual relationships outside relationships? Oh, had sexual relations outside relationships. Basically had that conversation with a friend of mine. Personally, if someone I date told me about sexual relationships outside relationships, friends with benefits, hookups, etc., it would be negative for me. At the end, it all boils down to similar definitions of sexual intimacy. Sex outside relationships sounds rather unattractive to me, and of course I never had hookups / friends with benefits. After that conversation with a friend and his reaction, I'm not sure if that's an unreasonable thing.
You sound like a lot of fun.
You do sound quite fun. I wonder why you haven't had many hookups. We're starting judgy, and I'm okay with it.
Oh, this is going to be my catty Mean Girls episode where I'm going to unleash the pain that's in my head.
Miller unmasked.
Yeah. Look, we've talked about it a bunch of times. Don't judge people for how they want to live their lives. And if it's something that you don't like, fine, you're wrong. Like, you're just straight wrong. I know we can talk about, ethics and opinions and everything, but the idea that sex should only be between two people in an exclusive monogamous relationship, and anyone who has sex outside of that parameter is a negative, is stupid. It's dumb.
It is. And even if you want to, you can look at it very many ways. Firstly, you're kind of devaluing anybody who has non-monogamous relationships, right? So I'm sure polyamory doesn't sit well with this person, and it's just that's just a wild stance to begin with anyway, just being everything else is void and shit and wrong. But secondly, it's it's weirder and harder to get a sexual relationship, to wait until you're in a relationship to get one. Most people will get into one after seeing someone for a while, after having sex with them, after doing all these things. So it's societally, the odds are there that someone would have sex before they're in a relationship. So it's is it unreasonable? Yeah, I think it kind of is, because I think you're setting yourself up for failure, because the majority of people have had sex outside of actual committed relationships, even if it later becomes one.
Yeah, the idea of also not having sex with someone you're about to enter into a relationship with, I would never, ever date someone that I hadn't slept with.
Of course not.
Because sex is a big part of relationships. It's a big part of, what I value. You know, like I want to have a really, really good sexual relationship with my partner, and I want to make sure that the
100%.
sexual chemistry is there. I want to make sure that we're compatible. I want to make sure that, you know, that it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine getting into a relationship and finally finding someone that you really like, and then the sex is bad, and then having to be like, hey, you suck in bed, so I'm
Yeah.
going to leave now.
I've wasted a lot of time and effort, and we're both like emotionally on the hook now, but I have to break up with you because this sucks.
Yeah, you're bad at blowjobs or whatever. Yeah, or the alternative is also just being like, well, this is my life. I found a person I like. The sex is terrible, but
Mm-hmm.
what else? What else can I do? And then you live a unfulfilling sexual life for as long as you're with that person.
100%. Yeah. And it's like, in a lot of cases, it's not even just bad sex, as in, like, oh, I don't feel great. It can be bad, as in dangerous or like unsafe or toxic, or you know what I mean? And these are things you need to know. Like, if you're with someone who disrespects your boundaries or is aggressive or violent or any of these things, and you're in a fucking relationship with them, it's so much harder to leave that situation. And you've got the sunk cost fallacy, et cetera, et cetera. And they've got way more access into your life, too. So it's like, it's just like,
And
you're
not to
wrong.
mention just the fact that like life should be spontaneous and fun. So if
Mhm.
you're on vacation, you run into someone, you find, you know, you have that like that spark, that little, you know, every now and then something comes along and you just have to have someone. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, nope, not for me.
Yeah. Or
That
you do, and then you're a hypocrite. You know what I mean? Like, and
it
that's the
just
thing.
seems so
Those
unfun.
those flings, especially like holiday flings, they're great. They're so great. People write movies about that shit. They're so great. So I
It's
just
also a
like
great way to like learn yourself too, right? Like it, like
100%.
understanding who you are as a sexual person comes through experience and expression. And if
Mhm.
you have given yourself, you know, you have a whole fucking playground, but instead you've chosen like one little square foot in the very back behind some bushes, and you haven't experienced the rest of the fucking playground. Like, what are you doing?
Mhm. And also, hey, fuck it. If this is what you want to do, by all means. But to then turn what you personally choose to do as a judgment call against other people,
Yeah.
nah, man, that's not it. That's not it.
Es-
You
Especially
know?
one that's so rigid and so far out of pocket. You know what I mean? Like the idea that
Mhm.
you want to find someone who feels the exact same way, who has never had a one night stand, who has never hooked
Mhm.
up, who's never had a friends with benefits, and has only had sex in relationships. The fact that you're
Yeah.
looking for that and you're going to, you know, put your nose up and be like all snooty about it if they have done any of those things, you're going to be living a long, sad, sexless, lonely life.
Yeah, honestly, the odds are against you. And again, like, look, if that's something you personally want to do, that's fine. I don't agree. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the best way to do things, but like, if you're not hurting anybody else and that's just the thing you want to do, great. But when you start to judge people, do all that, yeah, you kind of are hurting other people. But secondly, it's like, you're going to fuck yourself over so hard because, as Dane said, you're reducing your own personal dating pool massively. And after that, are you going to fuck yourself over by, oh, you do find somebody who's finally fits this bill that you're looking for? And it's been, you know, one person after 30 who've all had even just one night stand that you can't even be near. So now what are you going to do? Choose this person who's not great just because they fit that one thing? Probably. Or are you going to go back and wait for another 30 people to go by?
Yeah, it's an extreme version of people who are looking for, who are just like, I need a boyfriend,
Yeah.
and then will latch on to anyone who gives them attention initially. But you've now set the parameters so low that you're going to be even more likely to end up in a bad relationship because
Mhm.
you've found someone who fits the very, very narrow, specific parameters that you're looking for. And it's
Mhm.
like, again, as Nell said, if that's what you want to do, sure, but you're probably going to be unhappy and very unsatisfied.
Mhm. And even then, I meant more like if you personally do not want to have sex unless you're in a relationship. Sure, whatever. I think you can set your preferences however you like. I still don't think it's a great idea, but whatever. But it's when you start to judge people and only date them in these ways, then I think you're harming both yourself and you're kind of being slut shamey to others as well.
100%.
So I wish we could like take whatever is like causing this weird like ick for you and just jettison it away because you would be a lot happier in your life Because I think you'd be more open to fun sexual experiences and, more importantly, be more open to other people. Like, a lot more other people. I don't think I've ever met someone who's only had sex in relationships.
No.
So, like, you just wouldn't, like, no one I know you could go out with. And I know some really fucking great people, so that sucks for you.
That's the thing, right? Like, how many great people are you passing upon the option of exploring a life together with because of this? And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And once again, I'll reiterate what I said at the very beginning. You're wrong.
Yeah.
This is, listen to this, yo.
Okay, I will.
Would this be too out there to do to my husband?
Oh, I'm going to say yes. It's going to be one of two ways. It's either the most basic thing. It's like, would it be out there to make him coffee in the morning? Or it's like, what if I hide something in his butt while he's sleeping and we turn it into a fun treasure hunt?
What if I hit him as hard as I can with a pair of skis?
A pair of what? Pardon?
Yeah, that's what I said. My husband has an off day this Friday, so I think it's the perfect day to do what I always fantasized and edge him all day. I was thinking initiating sex in the morning, getting him real hard, but not going forward with PIV. Then, as he chills around home and I'm running errands, I send him nude and sex and tell him he absolutely cannot come until I get back home. Maybe even call in to check in on him. Tell him to send me a picture of his dick to make sure he's still hard and hasn't taken care of himself yet. If anyone has more ideas on how to edge him without actually being there, that'd be great. Then I'd purposely get home at night, tell him to sit down. Then this is the part I'm nervous about. I'd stand on the couch, standing on the outside of his legs, with my ass in his face, and tell him to eat me out, but not allowing him to touch me at all. And after a while, I'd lean over and give him a blowjob upside down, very, very slowly, with my pussy still in his face. I've never done anything like this, but this fantasy turns me on so much, I'd love to try it. But I'm so intimidated, though. Is it a good idea? And then edit. So for the first time, I'm going to shorten the time frame from all day to a few hours. And I should clarify, I'm not going to leave him hanging with no explanation. Definitely going to tell him that there's more to come and to wait for me before leaving home.
Okay. I have some concerns. Firstly, it's your fantasy, not his.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be the one in the lurch. So I think discussing it, and you did say, oh, I won't, do it without explanation, but it's like there's a difference between doing something being like, oh, you will come later, and having a full discussion about how, like, hey, I would like to edge you all day. Is that cool?
Yes.
So that's my first concern is like, great that you have this, but if you just kind of go into this without his consent, it's probably going to really suck for him unless that's specifically what he's into. So I think you definitely need to broach this subject and get consent, enthusiastic consent. 2, maybe you don't understand how dicks work, but if you're asking for pictures while you're away at work during the day to make sure his dick is still hard, that's not how it works. His dick will remain hard no matter how horny he is for like a little bit, and then it'll go away whether or not he takes care of himself or not. He's not going to sustain a boner all day, and if he does, he needs to seek medical help.
You're going to go home to a dead husband.
Yeah. So like, just so that, you're aware, because I don't want this to turn into oh, so you didn't jerk off. No. Why aren't you hard right now? What? You're lying. Like, just a massive misunderstanding. That's not a word, but of dicks. So that is very important.
You say understandation?
I did say understandation.
Nice.
Misunderstanding, I think, is what I was going for.
Yeah, that's definitely a word.
Yeah, but who could tell?
Not me.
Not me. So those are my 2 big ones. I like that you're excited to do something sexy. I like that you want to be in control. I like that you have this, daring to you scenario where you get like eaten out from behind and blow them slowly. This is all great, but you need consent and you need to know how dicks work.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered a lot of it. I hope that with your edit where you're like, oh, I'm going to make sure that he understands the situation, that it is a thorough explanation of like what's to come. And like, but obviously you don't have to give a play-by-play of everything, but I think you do, as Niall said, like, I think you do have to be like, hey, today I'm going to tease you all day. And then at the end of the day, you're going to get a reward or something, right? Like, let him know that
I wouldn't even
cruel.
I wouldn't even say it. I would just be like, hey, like, I wouldn't say what I'm going to do. I would ask. and not maybe specifically like, hey, tomorrow, but in general, just be like, I have this fantasy of like edging you for like an extended period of time before we like really get down to it. Like, are you okay with that? Because some people really like a tease and an edge, and some
Yeah.
people fucking hate it, especially if it goes on too long. Like, I've been in situations where someone's like, I'm going to tease you, and it's hot, but they don't understand when it stops, like, you know, diminishing returns, when it
Yeah.
stops becoming hot and starts becoming like, okay, this actually fucking sucks.
Which is, you know, I appreciate that. Again, in the edit, they were like, I'm going to do it from instead of all day to a few hours.
Yes,
That's a
I
great-
think that's way more effective.
Yeah, that is a great way to enter into this, because if he does, you know, if you guys do get hot and heavy in the morning and then you're like, actually, no, I got to go to the bank. And then you go to the bank and, you know, you get back an hour or whatever after doing some errands and then you finish off. I think that is a great test, a litmus test to be like, are you actually into this? Is this something that you're enjoying? Because then you could turn it into an all day thing, right? And then it can become a thing of like, when he's at work, you can send him sexy pictures and being like, lead him on that way. And the same thing where, like, you know, these days where he has off, it can become I wouldn't overdo it, but it could be a fun way to, depending on how long you've been together, spice things up a little bit. I think it's a great idea. I think it's, again, as Niall's mentioned, as long as it is something that he's also going to be enjoying. I know you're concerned about this ass in the face thing, but I think as long as you figured out the logistics of it, because your description of it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I don't know how you're going to be doing it, but like,
you either need to be very flexible, very tall, maybe both, or like he'd have to be almost off the couch.
yeah. So I would maybe practice standing on the couch first, because I don't think you realize how much balance it takes to stand on squishy seats with, you know, people moving, and like you say,
Especially when you're
touch you.
hopefully coming really hard.
Yeah, I would say maybe let them hold on to you for stability, because the last thing you want to do is your knees buckle because your husband's, you know, doing his job right, and you go fucking face first through the glass coffee table. So you know, just think safety measures here. Maybe bend over the couch and let him, you know, like sort of get on his knees and go to town from behind that way. I would just try out this whole standing on the couch thing when you're by yourself first, to see if you're like, ooh, no, actually, this is a good way to break my neck. But other than that, I hope you have a great time. I hope this works out for both of you, and hope you've added a little bit of extra something to the monotony that you might have fallen into.
And even if you don't have monotony, you could still spice things up.
Yeah.
That's the best part. It's like, you don't have to be bored to get more exciting. If you're exciting, you can get a little bit more exciting, and it's wonderful. So yeah, I love the energy that's coming through this post, because it's like, I want a partner who does, like, that's something I look for in a partner, somebody who takes your sex life and wants to make it novel and adventurous. And like, I think there are people out there who would never think of like, oh, my partner has a day off, let's turn it into a sexy day, you know? Like, I think it's wonderful. So, you know, just make sure you get consent, and make sure it's something they're into as well, and learn a little bit about boners, and you're good to go.
And then maybe once you've done this for you, ask him if he has any fantasies, and maybe you guys can just do
100%.
like a, you know, a monthly or a weekly fantasy swap thing, where 1 month it's her turn to tease you and yada yada and do whatever she wants to do, and then maybe you like the idea of, like, you know, tying her to the bedpost and like going down on her, or like teasing her or whatever. You know, I think this is a great way to open the door into more variations of play. And I don't think that you should just check this off your list and be like, we did it.
Yeah.
I think this is a great sort of like gateway into a more playful and exploratory. We're good with words today.
We are very good. Our wordage is
a more
excellent.
exploratory sexual relationship. So good luck.
Oh yeah. This is by a deleted user. The guy, male 26, I'm dating, female 18, got into a huge fight on first date. How to move forward. So I met this guy, I'll name him Ben for the sake of this post, on Plenty of Fish. We would talk back and forth on the phone for about a week before he asked me to a date, which I accepted. We were to have dinner and see a movie. He picked me up, and while we made our way to the restaurant, there was a guy driving next to us, and it made it seem like he wanted to race. I'm assuming from the type of car he and Ben had. I'm not big on car, but I know they were both sporty type. Long story short, the other guy beat him, and I laughed. Not at Ben, but because the mini race was fun. Ben must have assumed I was laughing at him, and from there, he treated me rude. Feel like from the beginning he would do things to try to impress me, like talk how much money he made, his job, how many girls he dated/slept with. Things that aren't appropriate to talk about with a girl you're trying to get with, but whatever. He would act very condescending, like he was really overcompensating for something. I brushed it off. At dinner, as we were leaving to the car and having a conversation, I forgot its entirety, but I remember him saying something to the effect of, yeah, like you want to suck that guy's dick from the road, referring to the guy he raced and lost to. I asked him to take him home because he was being rude, and I didn't want to continue the date. He got upset, shoved me against the car passenger door, and screamed me in my face. Told me he was going to make me feel stupid and embarrassed, like I supposedly tried to make him. Before leaving me in the parking lot, he put his hand up my shirt and groped my breasts. I did feel very stupid afterward. I requested a lift and went home. Yesterday he texted me, Happy Thanksgiving, and asked to see me because he wanted to apologize for his behavior. I met up with him this morning before work, and he basically said I made him feel some type of way. Basically, his ego was bruised. I apologized for making him feel that way. He said he wants a do-over. I agreed, but what can I do to ensure something like this doesn't happen between us again?
Don't go see him again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but you were sexually assaulted because you made a dude's ego feel bad because he lost a shitty street race in what I can only imagine is like a 1997 Honda Civic, because this is the kind of energy this man is giving. Like, no, don't go see him again.
It's been one date and he's running out of red flags to tick, and some of them are life in jail flags.
Yeah.
Like the ones remaining, which again, there aren't many. This guy is absolute garbage trash. Never see him again.
I don't even want to talk. Like, I don't want to get into sort of, dissecting this because I don't think there's anything to dissect. I think it is straight up. This guy's a bad person. He assaulted you. Yeah. And his reasoning was, you made me feel bad because you think that if you get in a relationship with this guy, that there isn't going to be a time where you don't accidentally make him feel bad again. And
hey, even if you had been trying to make him feel bad, this wouldn't be okay by any stretch of the imagination, but you literally were enjoying this dumb, stupid thing he was doing. So just know, that's the thing. There's no gray here.
Yeah. The fact that you even talked to him after this is crazy, let alone meeting up with him again, let alone agreeing to a second date. Yeah. What are you doing? Please delete tell him, be like, hey, sorry. No, or don't just block him. You know what I mean? Like, just be done with him. You do not deserve this. No one deserves it. And if anything, the dude should have a fucking criminal history after that. He sexually assaulted you in a parking lot after dinner because you laughed. Yeah.
This guy's like an utter irredeemable piece of shit. Do not go on another date with him.
Yeah, it's literally only going to end with you getting hurt.
Yeah. So no. Sorry, I know that one's shitty, but it just breaks my heart when we see these ones that are like, here's a giant red flag. What do I do next? It's like, you run.
Yeah. No, I think it's important every now and then to just be like, not good behavior should not be rewarded with second chances.
Yeah.
This is from Canadian Boy. I, a 16-year-old male, think I hurt my partner, 16-year-old female, during sex. So my partner and I have been dating for nearly a year and decided we were both ready for the next step. We tried to have sex, but she told me that it burned when we tried missionary and all other positions. We tried to do a riding position, and we could get it all the way in, but we had to immediately stop because it hurt her. When I asked what type of pain it was, she said it was a stretchy burning pain. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or if there'd be anything I could do to fix it. I have tried using lots of lube in case that was the issue, but still no luck. What could the problem be, and how can we fix it?
Okay, lube was going to be on my list. Yeah, it is very possibly vaginismus.
Yep.
Which has varying, do I want to say symptoms? Because symptoms seem more like something else, but associated signs.
Effects?
Yeah. And she would need to go see a gynecologist and a doctor and try to work on it in that way, if that was the case. It also could just be despite lube, it's if she's very nervous or uncomfortable, all the lube in the world isn't really going to fix anything. I will say I applaud the fact that you have the wherewithal to use lube, because I'm pretty sure there are people above the age of 16 we've had questions from that haven't. So fair play. You have a decent head on your shoulders.
And stopping when...
Yes, and caring and posting and asking. So all good signs from what I'm seeing. So that's good.
Yeah, the tough thing about being this age is, as Nell said, going to a gynecologist would be my first step and my first advice. But I know a lot of people this age are nervous. They also probably have to book with their parents, and having to explain why you want to go, it might be awkward or uncomfortable. But I would say that like this is something that you should take control of. I think your sexual health, and I hope, parents are fucking weird, but it might be worth even like kind of making something up to get an appointment. And then I know that usually that once you're alone in the room, you can like bring it up to your doctor. Hopefully there's a bit of privacy. Hopefully your parents aren't there. I don't really know how it works when you're that age, unfortunately. I don't know
I
if
feel
a
like it
guardian
also
has to remain.
depends on the parent and practitioner, you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. So there's some other things. As we know, there is what we call a hymen. It is like a membrane that covers the vaginal opening. A lot of people think of it as barrier to be broken through, but it is in reality a much more complex situation. For example, some people's hymen is barely like almost like a crescent moon. Some people's it covers the entire vaginal opening. So it really depends also on what her hymen looks like and how that is. So I think starting with other things like fingers would be a great way. Smaller toys would also be a good way, because those are things that you don't need to then worry about like remaining hard, or you have a little bit more dexterity and a bit more ways to like alter angles and stuff to see what's working and what's hurting, and if anything does feel good, and just take it really slow. Explain to her that you're on her side, which it seems like you've made apparent this first time, and be like, we're going to work through it together. And the second anything feels bad, we'll stop. If there's something that feels better or good, we'll push forward, and we won't do anything you don't want to do. And I will listen to you. So you tell me if you want me to go a little harder, if you want me to go a little softer, a little slower, faster, and we'll work together and see if you can't sort of troubleshoot it with something outside of sex, because you're young. Presumably this is both your first time. Nerves never help any situation.
No,
so
especially not this one where nerves may in fact be the problem, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think what Dain said is so paramount that like if you're there and you're openly communicative and supportive, and you make it very clear that you are there for them and to help, and you're not judging, you're not annoyed, you're not impatient.
Yeah.
You're not like grossed out. It's like, because a lot of people would be a lot of those things. You are fully there as a partner and you're dealing with this problem positively together. That's going to go so far in every way. Even if that doesn't help the problem, it's going to help her presumably for the rest of her life. You know what I mean? Like, these situations shape us, and it's like, if you're shitty right now, that's not going to be good. If you're really good now, like, you're building the blocks for both you and her to have a wonderful sex life for the rest of your lives. So I love the energy so far. Be there, be patient, be calm, be kind, be supportive, be open, be communicative. And like, if it is the kind of thing where you need to go and see a gynecologist or whatever, hopefully you can do that. And if not, like, take your time. It could be that when you're 16, like, I remember when I was having sex at 15, literally, like, you'd be at someone's house and their parents would pop down to the shops for half an hour and you'd be like, pants off, quick. So it could be just a matter of like rushing it. And like, maybe it's trying to do it too quickly in the allotted time period. Maybe it's like discomfort from not being able to even like properly lie down in the bed. So there could be a lot of factors at play here, and you can work through them. But I love the care, and I hope that doesn't go anywhere.
And you can also look into your area. There's usually in most major cities places that have like sex clinics. And you might be able to go in without having to go through a parent and sit down with a health professional and talk this through. You're probably not going to get an examination or something as thorough as a gynecologist, but you would at least be able to talk to a medical professional, because as we've said, we are not doctors. Yeah. We are not professionals. We can only talk anecdotally from our experience.
We've also used the wrong word multiple times for very basic words already this episode.
Yes.
So
it might be worth popping into, I know Planned Parenthood.
Yeah,
of their office usually have like sex counselors and people that you can talk to. about this kind of stuff, and they are the only different, or like, the risk there is if someone sees you, they might think you're getting an abortion, and which might cause a lot of turmoil in your lives. So there's, things like that, but it's certainly not a bad idea to try to go to, a third party outside of your medical professionals of your family, and chat with a medical professional in a more sexual oriented field and space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also an option that you can explore if you have something like that near you.
Yeah, 100%. And good luck. My friends are saying I'm too picky after I rejected a guy recently for a single reason I saw as a deal breaker. I'm not sure where I should draw the line anymore. This is by Miraleth. I, 26-year-old female, recently decided to start dating. What?
That's a great name. I'm going to steal it for NoQuest.
Do it. Throw it on our other podcast, and they'll never know. I, 26-year-old female, recently started to date again after taking a year-long break to get over a difficult relationship. I've met a few people throughout the last year, but I never felt genuinely ready to get back into it, so I've just seen people casually but would avoid anything too serious. Met a guy, 35, through some mutual friends of mine at a party a few months ago. They told me we have a lot in common, and they were right. He likes to travel, cook, practices the same dance style as me, is an avid hiker, cyclist, runner, and was all around an interesting person to talk to. We really hit it off, so I agreed to several more dates. Last weekend, he came over, so we cooked together, and we started talking about our jobs. He was complaining his job required a COVID vaccine and boasted he was able to fake it with forged documents. He asked me if I got vaccinated, and I said, of course, I work in the medical field. He already knew about my work, and we talked about a lot of other dates, so I'm surprised he would think otherwise. He asked if I got my other vaccines, and I told him, of course. I have to keep them updated as there are several mandatory in my domain. He told me I should have just faked it, like him. I shrugged, told him I had nothing against vaccines. I saw them as beneficial, especially in my line of work where I come in contact with blood and other bodily fluids on a regular basis. He told me he was not vaccinated at all. His mom was against modern medicine, so he was raised with only natural medicine. He then said he turned out fine, so he doesn't understand why so many people feel the need to get them. Apparently their mother disowned one of his half-brothers for getting his children themselves vaccinated. He asked me if I would get my future children vaccinated. I said I would if I had any. He got really quiet after that, and the subject was changed. In the end, it didn't sit right with me. So as well as we clicked on everything else, I decided to end it after the date was over. He went in for a kiss and asked if we could see each other again. I told him I simply don't think we'd be a good match. He asked if it was the vaccine thing, and I admitted that it was. He told me he was disappointed and thought I was more open-minded. I thought it was the right thing to do, but now several friends and some family members are saying otherwise. Some people say it's not a big deal and it was unfair of me to reject him for his life choice and beliefs. This would be like rejecting someone for being vegan, but I disagree. Mostly because I wouldn't reject someone because of their dietary choices. Sister Sarah's picky, and I would end up alone if I reject someone for something so menial, which is why I'm still single in my mid-20s. That stung, so I decided I'd get some outside opinions. I'm worried they might be right, etc.
They are not right. They're wrong.
They are.
I like this episode because I get to tell people that they're wrong.
It's true.
The false equivalency of saying, "Oh, I chose in the middle of a global pandemic to not get a vaccine that could help put this thing to bed,"
while lying illegally and putting people at risk, including myself,
and then equating that to someone being like, "I don't want to eat meat." It like there's no effect on other people based on what you choose to eat, unless what you choose to eat is people.
Yes.
If you're a cannibal, sure.
Unless you're a very bad vegan, you're not being unhealthy to yourself. You're definitely not being unhealthy to other people. Also, it's just like there's so many levels here where, like, one, he's doing something illegal, putting his job at risk, putting other people at risk, utter lack of care for other people, utter lack of care for science and medical knowledge, and also the kind of person who can only look at something that happened to them and be like, I turned out fine, therefore, that's proof that everybody would turn out fine.
Yes.
That's like, you don't want to date someone that dumb. Like, you just don't.
There's layers of things, as Niall said. Also, do you really want to be involved with someone whose mother is so overbearing that she's still pulling the strings, like disowning family? Like, if you guys did get married, like, and had kids, do you really think that she wouldn't be saying, whispering in his ear to not get them vaccinated, blah, blah, blah?
Well, literally, the half-brother got his kids vaccinated, I mean. So you'd be fucked. Do you really want to live with that ransom hanging over you?
You cannot date people that you don't fundamentally agree with. You're in the medical profession. You probably understand the science and benefits of having a vaccine, as you've clarified. So I wouldn't date someone who was trying to convince me that like the Holocaust didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? It's like this. I mean, I get a little bit of a false equivalency, but like at the same time, it's like I know things that happened, and I know like I wouldn't want to spend my time with someone or commit my life to someone whose worldview, despite their personal preferences and stuff, it's not like she's like, oh, you're Jewish, sorry, I'm not interested, or oh, you're Christian, sorry, I'm not interested. But if you were dating someone or you found out that their religious beliefs were, if they were like, oh, I'm a Christian, if you were like, oh, absolutely not, I will not date you because of your religion, I think, but if he was like, oh, I'm a Christian and I believe that all gay people are going to hell and I believe that interracial marriage is wrong. And I also believe
get the fuck out, you piece of shit.
Yeah, then it's like you're not a bad person. You're not persecuting someone because of their religion. You're persecuting people because, or you're avoiding people because of really bad worldview.
Yeah. And like this has so many like consequences for your life were this to go further, because your partner's at risk, you're at risk. If you or him gets sick and he refuses to like believe in medicine, that's going to be an interesting fight. Also, you're in the medical field. He doesn't respect your field at all, because like anti-vax sentiments always come with they're pushing the narrative, they're lying, they're faking deaths as COVID. It's like, how long before he's like, just, there's nothing wrong with this. We could talk about this all day. You're right. I don't understand why everyone else is getting weird about it.
Because of the societal pressure that women can't be single.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I also love where she's like, I'm single in my mid-20s. Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, you should be. Everyone should be. Yeah. No, I think that's like everyone is looking and they're like, oh, time's ticking for Stephanie here. You got to get in a relationship. It doesn't matter if you hate the person. It's better than being single.
Well, the thing is, you can't have sex when you're single. So I kind of get where they're coming from, right?
It's true, yeah.
If you do, you will just know. Blacklisted immediately. So yeah, you're good. And
you're good.
This is kind of like what happened earlier, where it's like, no, you're in the right. And I hate that it's being second guessed.
You just got to do what we always say, and you got to stick with your guns.
Didn't we say to not change your guns?
Don't change your guns.
Don't change your guns.
That's what I'm saying.
Put that as the title again. That's one of our most popular episodes ever.
Maybe I'll make it Don't Change Your Guns Part 2.
Please do. Please do. I really hope that we have a bunch of like gun nuts who like looked up a different podcast but then listened and then stuck with us. If you are, let us know. We don't know why that episode's the most popular.
I know.
And we want to know. And hey, if you did come, if you were lured in by our weird titles and you stick around, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, are you ready for this one? It's going to be a trip, but I don't think it'll be too long. This is Fwest Loki 70. I gotta take a deep breath before I do this. Am I worth it as a guy who is sensitive like myself worth it? I have been recently feeling hurt as that I have liked quite a lot was nice to her and all. She has an ex who was always bad to her, but she never bothered noticing me nor talking me more as I cared for her more and all that her ex did. Why did she lie to me as I have always been honest, but I don't hate her at all for what she did. Forgive her. She never replied to me with a different message when I send her beautiful messages and of course compliments, but of course not always, but it's the way I am like writing compliments to a woman of beauty because women deserve more in life, a man who cherished them so much, like they're the world to them, Her ex was also behind it, and she let it happen. She knew what would happen, but that's the way she chooses her life. I don't get why a woman of her beauty, who can be a wonderful person, by the way, because anyone can, and is in their own way, but that's just the story, but a brief part of it won't go further. And the type of guy I am is sensitive, can be very sensitive, nice, very nice even, kind-hearted, forgiving, generous, improving, polite, has manners, gentle, gentleman, very sweet even, positive, heartfelt, humble, sympathetic, empathetic, mature, and many other things, including honest. I'm not sure these traits are really that good anymore. I'm still holding on and being myself, and part of being myself is helping others, and so, but I am not sure what women would ever like me, and I am also very caring, but the type of woman I like is mostly personality, and heart-wise beauty is fine and all, but beauty within. I just would like to meet that certain someone one day, a woman he likes me because of not my appearance or anything, because beauty and appearance is BS anyway. Does anyone agree? On that,
yes.
But that is just my opinion. My experience and overall doubts in finding the special woman for me, I wouldn't mind if she's strong or sensitive or anything like that, even smart and all beautiful, even from the outside. But as long as she is beautiful on the inside, that is best, a most cherishable thing in a woman. But in general, I care for all women. But one is special. All women really need a man more of good personality than good looks, because good looks can be deceiving. It's an unfortunate truth. So what do any of you think? I get this might be out of context completely and too long. What do you all think overall?
Just a general? Just a general...
Overall, you think?
There were times in there where I got strong Donald Trump vibes.
Right? Nice. Very nice, even. Is this Trump's alt account, do you think? And he's having issues with Melania.
But you know what? Well, I think we all know that there's trouble with Melania. I had flashbacks to a certain someone that we haven't
Right?
checked in on in a very long time.
That's
But this,
like the vibes
Do you-
I was getting.
do you think this is the stinky ex of Bad Bitch or Better Bitch?
Better Batch. Oh my god. Maybe.
Do you think this is the stinky ex who got hit by a car and came back to life?
He sounds like he got hit by a car. there's absolutely no punctuation, in case you're wondering why I read it like I was falling off a building.
Oh no, I understood. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this sounds like someone who's had a severe head wound via car and is
I
also
don't-
rotting from the inside.
So one of the comments, I don't blame you, but you need to explain. What did she do? Were you dating and then her ex broke you up? I'm confused. Please explain what happened. Thanks for saying it nicely. So what happened was when I met her, she seemed nice. She had nice vibes and felt she was a good person. Although I developed feelings for her, which I honestly didn't want. I just wanted more friends. I've been through rejections in relationships, so not bothered with it really. I also questioned as to why I feel it again. Didn't really want nor like the fact I felt those feelings because I knew they were not at the right time. It should go naturally, you know? We came to know each other more. Her ex is not a good person because he treats her friends she makes badly, and that's why they broke up. I was being myself because the one important thing in life, taking it slow and all, let everything go naturally, was very nice to her, honest and all. But something felt that she was hiding something as we talked about our personalities together and was wanting to get to know me better. I'm not even a quarter into this answer, but I'm going to stop for your sake because I think I've made your headache worse.
Yeah, I'm now hungover again.
Good. So, what do you think overall?
I don't even know what to address. I think this man has too many voices in his head talking to him. And I'm not implying that he has like a severe mental illness or anything, but I think that there's an internal monologue that needs to chill the fuck out. And I think he needs therapy.
So I think one of the important things about this, and it's very hard to discern what's actually happened, but like, he's never been with this person. She never bothered noticing me, but her ex is a bad person, but he's such a good person. Even the question, am I worth it? Is a guy who is sensitive like myself worth it? There's nothing wrong with being sensitive, but you got to stop being in these like, I deserve this person because I tick the box of being nice.
Well, it's falling into the nice guy TM
100%.
box, right? And in my opinion, the only way to get over that is with professional mental help. And I think this gentleman would benefit greatly from talking to a health professional or a mental health professional and sort of like, right now his head is like a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I think that definitely needs to be, deconstructed and straightened out and smoothed over a little bit so that if he does want to convey his thoughts or his concerns or his feelings, that they come out rational and understandable. Because right now it seems like you've got a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts that aren't
periods
that coming out as anything meaningful to anyone. Probably even yourself. You probably have no idea what you're asking right now.
Yeah. But I think like even before, mental health, like professional help and all that, it's like you need to realize, and a lot of people need to realize this, that you don't earn women by being a nice person. You don't earn a partner by just ticking a box of like, oh, I'm nice and kind and blah, 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 like in a vacuum over there. It's like, you don't just hit your kindness quota and somebody appears in front of you being like, want a date? And it's like, you could be the nicest person in the world, but like no one's owed to be your partner as a result of that. And like this weird like sense of entitlement where it's like, wait, I've done my part. I'm nice. So why don't I own this person or why aren't they mine? Like that's such a toxic bullshit thing. It's like, I get it. It can suck when you are nice and hopefully you actually are.
I feel like anyone who says these things aren't inherently nice because the nice people do things
because they want to, yes.
Because they're nice, right? Because they're, but like everyone that always says like, oh, girls don't want nice guys. It's like, well, are you nice or are you trying to be nice to get girls? Because those are two very different things.
I agree fully. I do also think, though, there is room for if you see a bunch of really great things happen to someone who sucks. Like, there's kind of a, what about me? And it's not like you've done these nice things to have whatever, but there's just kind of like a life is unfairness. And it's fine to feel that for a minute.
Sure.
It's not fine to then be like, but I'm owed that woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the point I was trying to make. It's like, yeah, we get it. You can feel that way in a flash, almost like jealousy, because it kind of is jealousy, right? But like, it's how you act on it that matters. And if you act on that by being like, but I'm owed, it's like you're reducing this poor woman to your niceness prize. Like, fuck that. That's not it.
Yeah, like women are vending machines that you just like put in your nice tokens.
Exactly.
You're like, hey, we got you for an hour now.
And as Dain says, the irony is that type of thinking is inherently not nice.
Not nice. Very bad.
So you just got lawyered. You ain't nice.
And that's like, you see it all the time where people are like, oh, I'm going to go and help her do chores, or I'm going to go help her build furniture. And it's like, you're not doing it because you want to. You're not doing it because it's something nice to do or to help out. You're doing it because you think that this will put a little bit of weight into your, I can have sex with you soon, column. And like, if that's what you're doing, if the only reason you're doing nice things for a person, same thing with like, oh, you hold the door for a really pretty girl, but you're not going to hold it for like the dude with the walker or the unattractive person or whatever. But if there's a hot woman behind you, you're going to hold the door, hoping that she's
for 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah, you're going to lock eyes, and a Faith Hill song is going to play, and you're going to fall in love, and that's going to be your adorable meet cute. Like that's not a nice thing. You're not doing a nice thing. You're self-serving yourself with a, weird fantasy of how human women work.
And also learn to put periods in things. I'm sorry. Like, maybe also see an English teacher. And they did clarify English is their first language, so I'm not being mean. Or I'm not being overly mean.
So pick a day where you go see your therapist and then immediately go to a grammar collective.
Grammar collective. Why am I part of that?
I feel like you are.
I'm definitely not.
That's going to do it, friends. That is the end of our show. But before we go.
Whoa, what happens before we go?
Before we go, we like to jump onto our online dating platforms such as Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, comb through profiles to look for red flags, see what works, what doesn't work, in an effort to make your online dating experience a little more enjoyable.
To spice it up. I got something to admit. I don't know if we've done this one before. And that is... No, but it's bad. Because if we have done it before, I should remember. And if we haven't done it before, I should know. And I don't know, and I don't know what that says about me. But this is Alexa. Here's the situation. I need someone to come over, discreet as shit, and come in a bowl for me so I can make fried chicken and test a theory. No, you don't have to eat it, and no, it's not a sexual thing, but I'll jack you off if that's what you need. Cum is protein, right? And protein combines shit. So instead of eggs, cum. Makes sense to me, but will it work?
I need to know.
Have we done that?
No, we definitely have not done the cum fried chicken.
I don't know if it's like that I've read it before when it got sent to me and it's burned in my brain, or if it's because a friend of ours was asked to make cum-based cocktails.
Yeah, no, maybe all of it, but I don't remember that unless I've blacked it out of my mind, which is also a possibility because I do that quite a bit. The Mind Palace, it's too big to hold. Maybe there's a large kitchenette where there's just a woman jerking a bunch of people off to make, because that's going to be a lot of cum.
That's
unless
the thing,
you're making very small, like little chicken nuggets. But if you're going to try to like coat a breast and cum, that's a lot.
We've all tried to coat a breast and cum. Am I right? It's the first time we made a joke like any other sex and dating advice podcast by men.
It's true. Okay. I don't really know how to rate this because as a dating profile, it's not great. You're not looking for a date. You're just trying to find like a cum harvest.
You're trying to source some locally sourced cum.
Yeah. So I'm going to give it a 0 because it's not a dating profile. This is essentially a Kijiji ad looking for goods and services.
Were I single, I'd be like, exciting, sexual, getting jacked off, worrying while she tries to feed me. What else is there coming? Yes, it's a 0. It's a dark Kijiji post. It's not Tinder.
This is Megan. It's a Tinder profile, and it says, "We'll say we met on Hinge."
That's it.
Yep.
I don't know why I find that very fucking funny.
I giggled at it too. I was like, that's actually really fucking, because you're taking that fucking we'll say we met at the grocery store bullshit that everyone is so ashamed, but it's like clearly you're acknowledging that Hinge is like a higher quality product. Also, just circling back to that question about the dude who got all fucking annoyed that she laughed. You met him on Plenty of Fish.
Yeah.
You need to
one.
get off Plenty of Fish, for the love of Christ.
What is it, 2002?
I know. Have you seen Plenty of Fish?
No, but I have heard there's really good alternative, Plenty of Beef. And I think
Plenty
people
of
should
Beef.
visit it.
.ca. I'm going to download Plenty of Fish for you so I can show you tonight.
Sure.
It's a nightmare. It literally looks like someone went back in time and stole like GeoCities and used that to build an app. There's like live streaming. It's a horrible fucking nightmare.
Live streaming.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll take a look at it while we stuff our faces with wings tonight.
You know what? It's very funny. Obviously, I would like more details, but I'm going to give it an 8.
I'm giving it an 8 as well. I thought it just flips things on its head, and I appreciate that kind of humor.
Yeah, I know you're smart and you're funny. Like, and that's 2 pretty big ticks already. And it's like, yes, I would love to know more about you, but like, it'll get me the message. I'm going to hit you with a Tinder opening. And this was sent to one of our friends, a Tinder opening. So like, they matched and she sent him this. Yeah. So we can rate this. He, just wondering if you would be interested in shoving your dick in my ass. Bring a few friends if you want. I assume the he is hey.
Yes.
Misspelled. So, hey, just wondering if you'd be interested in shoving your dick in my ass. Bring a few friends if you want.
I mean, she knows what she wants.
It's true.
But let me tell you, ladies, if this is your tactic, if this is just who you are, we're all going to think you're going to murder us.
Yeah.
Or you're going to charge us an insane amount of money, and there's going to be a large pimp in the room who's going to beat the shit out of us.
Yeah. Or, alternatively, the only people that are going to come over are either really dumb and don't think that, or are so sketchy that they're cool with it. I think it's a loser's game.
Yeah. So if ladies, I'm not here to squash your dreams of getting railed and fucked in the ass by strangers off Tinder. By all means, you do you, chase your bliss. But you need to have a little bit more chill so that we aren't as suspicious. Because as much as this is every person's dream.
Yeah, it's so much not the reality that they're not going to come, like, literally and figuratively.
It'd be like if I was like a trillionaire and I was like, I'm going to give $1 million to a bunch of people on Tinder. And everyone I matched with, I was like, hey, if you meet me here, I'll give you $1 million.
They're not coming.
No, I'm not. No. There's no way. That's not going to happen. It's the same sort of fear. $1 million, anal with a stranger, you know?
Yeah, my ex's roommate, a very attractive girl, broke up with a guy and was like, I'm getting laid tonight. Like, I'm getting revenge laid. I don't care. But would literally just go up to guys. And like on a night out, she would get approached so many times, but she was the one doing the approaching. Would just walk up to people and be like, hey, you want to come home and fuck me? And everyone was like, no. And she was so upset. And I was like, yeah, because they think it's a trap.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could just chill for a minute or talk to someone for 10, 20 minutes and then invite them home. And you're going to be fine. So I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes a little bit.
I don't think it's the way.
This is Sarah. She, they, pan, kinky, certified spooky bitch TM. Love child of Sailor Moon and Elizabeth Cylinder. Way into Star Wars, TTRPGs, horror movies, knitting, death doula, satanic temple member, relationship anarchy, partnered, no cops or military, ACAB, BLM. And there's a bunch of emojis. It's like a dog or a wolf, a star.
So they're a Sigma, a Sag.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
It's a purple
wolf
devil
is
emoji,
Sigma, obviously.
black heart, rainbow, spider, 2 hearts, and a bat. And then a man and a woman and a woman and a woman looking for casual dates and friends.
There's some Gen Zer like laughing their ass off that we don't know what they all mean.
I think that is just a quick summary of what they're about.
Nope. I like a lot of this.
I don't think there's anything in there I don't like.
Well, isn't there relationship anarchy?
Relationship anarchy, yeah.
I'm not really sure what that means, but like...
So relationship anarchy is... Okay. It's like a poly thing.
Okay, yeah, I figured like... With them, I figured it was just like disrupting the generic standards of relationships.
Like there's hierarchical polyamory and non-hierarchical polyamory. Relationship anarchy is kind of just like we do whatever we want and we are who we are and we don't put any more weight on everything. It's like it is almost exactly what it sounds, right? Like and I think very much like where the direction you were going of being like we disrupt the status quo. It is not just, man, woman, heteronormative.
So, like, again, I was going to say, like, that pinged for me, and on any other profile that would be a red flag. With them, I get the vibe, and I understand where it's coming from. So it's not really pinging. I really like it. It's got to be like a 9. They like TTRPGs. They like horror. They spooky. They knit. Love it.
Yeah. It's a great profile for me. I'm going to give it a 10.
Ooh, yeah, I thought you would.
It literally got everything, all of my green flags in there.
Okay, this is another Tinder opening, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You're a judge. A woman comes in for exposing herself to a minor. The kid was a 13-year-old boy. He has cancer. It was his dying wish to see some titties. Is she guilty?
Damn. Yes, she is. Or is she? I don't know.
I didn't ask you to answer the question.
I'm gonna answer the question though.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think?
You don't want to know what I think because I'm going to answer. I'm going to solve it all.
Okay.
So this is your last chance to guess before I fucking rock this shit out of the park.
Okay. So your judge.
Mm-hmm.
Woman walks in.
Yeah. She's brought in because she exposed herself to a minor. Kid was 13-year-old who has cancer, and it was his dying wish to see some titties. Is she guilty?
Okay. I'm sure there's something I'm missing here. So bust this wide open. Bust this nut all over.
Well, the thing is, you're probably thinking of it like from a moral standpoint, right? Like, oh, was it okay? That the morals and emotions have no place in a court of law. She did an illegal thing. She is guilty.
Okay. Yeah.
She did the thing. She did the thing.
She did do the thing.
She did do the thing. And that's all there is to it, really.
Speaking of all there is to it, that's going to wrap us up, y'all. Thank you very much for listening. We have news.
We do.
We announced it.
It's exciting news.
It's exciting news. February, Thursday, the 16th, we will be doing a live show. We will be doing this, but in person, in front of people at Black Sheep Cocktail Bar in Liberty Village in Toronto. It is getting down to the wire for tables. We will probably still have room for standing room and like mingling space. I think the bar is also still open, like the seating at the bar, but tables are going quick. So if you are in Toronto and you want to come check us out, we highly recommend making a reservation now.
Yes. And it's going to be a lot of fucking fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
You think we're unhinged on some episodes? Wait till you see us in person. Unfettered, liquored up with some beautiful cocktails.
Yeah.
It's going to get spicy.
It's going to be some energy, and it's going to be good energy. It's going to be good vibes. So please, if you are in the area, or if you know people who are fans of the show in the area, or people who aren't fans of the show and you want to introduce them and they're in the area, send them over. We would love to hang out. Also, if you have a question for the show, head on over to fbuddiespodcast.com, click the contact form. Just make sure you note somewhere in the question that you will be at the show so that we save it for the show and that we don't do it on the recorded show and we save it for the live show.
Yeah, 100%. And we love you guys. Thank you. Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities, thank you for their song Paper Stars. Ready for some bad sex writing? Have you heard about The Hidden and Unknown?
No.
So it's an indie game on Steam that was released, but it's $2,000 to play.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the most expensive. Yeah.
Have you heard what it's about?
No.
So it's one giant, like, MRA's wet dream, apparently. It's only 2 hours to finish it, and it starts with, like, an 8-minute uncuttable, like, Star Wars, like, stream of words moving off into the galaxy that starts by saying, most Western men today are feminine and incapable of taking the lead. There's an idea called the human cycle, which cannot be stopped as long as humanity continues to exist. It's been the case since the inception of civilization. However, with unprecedented advancements in science, things will not be the same as they used to be. Previously, only a small portion of people could afford to be weak, but the situation is different today. Most Western men are feminine, while most Western women today are masculine. Men mistake being weak as being good, so they do not offend females, while women take on more masculine roles. Their men are pathetic, weak, and incapable of taking the lead. So that goes on for 8 minutes, and it's how the world is ending because men are pathetic and women are being forced to be masculine and failing.
Cool.
So
I feel like that was made by someone who played The Last of Us 2 and got really angry. It's like, I'll make my own game.
Yeah, I like how they literally said they did their own research on men and women and that they do believe that men are generally weak and that the world will, get worse and worse. So there you go.
Can't argue with that. It's a $2,000 video game.
It's true, yeah.
My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
We've been your fuck buddies.